exciting. I feel like that's what I should say. But anyways, welcome! I am going to show you our lovely cemetery terrain that I've been working on, as well as showing you all the different bits and pieces from other videos I've done and other things we've created. Thought it'd be something fun to do on this mischief night. So as you can see, we have some fun, funky lighting going on right now. Yes, I will be putting on the lights, so don't worry. But I wanted to get an idea of what it's like when we sat down at the table for our campaign on Sunday and gave this guy a test run, and it was actually really, really cool. There's a huge wow factor to this. The kids loved it, and it was really, really fun to do together. But this is our cemetery, along with our church and churchyard. All right. We'll turn down the music so you can hear a little bit better, and I'm going to turn some lights on so you can see. There we go. Let there be light. All right, quick little hello for you. Hi everyone. Welcome back to this live stream for the cemetery. And I am going to just start showing you all these different pieces to break it down for you and see what we've put together throughout our process of making terrain, as well as some of the videos that I've done. And if you want to see how this is all done, I've actually created a playlist that I've put onto my channel, and it shows you all the videos that are related to this layout that you see right now. So I'm just going to switch the camera back around. I'm going to start taking you through step by step zones of where everything's going with this, and you can get an idea of how it all works together and give you ideas of how you can do different things with it as well. So sit tight, here we go. And there's David at the other computer. All right, so we're first gonna take care of that music. Yeah. Okay, so right now, this is, I like to call it the churchyard. I'm just gonna take the camera and zoom in for you. But here we have some of those fun elements, like the modular blood splatter, which you can see right now. And over here is the lighted lich. I always say lick. And one of the fountains that I made. In the back you can see the chapel. And there are the tombstones from one of the previous videos, as well as some of our characters that we use in our own campaign. And here are some more, and you can see these are the graves. Here's that open grave and some dirt piles, as well as a freshly covered grave. And then over yonder, there's the hanging tree. And then, as I move the camera again, there's also Keith. So if Brian's watching, there's your Keith. We brought him back for you. Happy birthday. And then also I have the magic hedge and the trees from that live stream that I did. So yeah, all of this is going to be shown for you on that playlist that I told you about. And it's already up on the page and it's already running, so you can get a feel for how that all comes together. If there's something specific you want to learn how to do or want to review how to do, definitely go back and check that out. But what I'm really going to focus on tonight is right here. This is the cemetery bit of terrain that I've been working on creating, and it's actually turned into something that's pretty darn cool and actually really modular. So I'm quite happy with that and how it's come out. So right now, you can see we have these fun characters. I'll bring you down for a little close-up. So I'm sure you're going to see some familiar faces through here. But basically, this is one of those pieces where, yes, initially I thought, you know what, I'm going to make this into a cemetery piece. But as I kept working on it, I realized it had a lot of potential as other things. So yes, right now it's set up as a cemetery, and I'll explain how I kind of went about creating this for you. Just get the camera going. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is show you some of these fun lighting features. Now, these are based off of the fog terrain that I made. However, there's a fun little feature on the bottom that's a little bit different. And pick this up. Underneath, what I found were these glass mosaic tiles. And what happens is you glue the polyfill around it, and when you put it on top of the light, it picks up the color of that stone, and it gives you a really neat smoke effect, fog effect with a color to it. So I thought that was pretty darn cool. And what I also did was, let me move this so you can see, I've punctured through the terrain itself, so there are these lights, and the lights are a strand of 10 that I got from the Dollar Tree. And those have turned into something where I can very easily move them around, take them out, everything like that. And this piece went from being my cemetery piece into something that's actually become, we were talking about how it could be a courtyard, how it could be a park, the backyard of a house, that type of thing. And I will be doing a future video on how to do this terrain exactly, because it's definitely different from anything that I've done before. But I'm really happy with the outcome, and I know this guy's a popular one to say. Say hello. What's he from again? The winged dude?
Hero Quest.
Hero Quest. So here's a guy from Hero Quest. But as I take these pieces off, I'm going to show you some fun stuff with this. Now, what we did is we have these, I'm just going to change some of the headstones around so you can see this better. We have these lights, and what I found was pretty cool is you can kind of place these a little bit so you get some lighting for them, which works out quite nicely, especially when you darken things up. But we also have those other pieces for the graves and everything that work out really well. And what David had done with our campaign is he took the various modes of these grave pieces and he started creating a story with them. So what happened is we first just had the graves where, let me put up a couple more of these tombstones. He had the graves where it was one of those things, they were all just kind of sitting there like this. There wasn't anything too special about them. And then as our characters are moving forward, what would happen is you'd have these elevated mounds suddenly pop up. So the terrain was changing on us. And so we'd see these guys pop up in different spots, and we knew something was happening as a result. So we'd see these pop up. I have 4 of them on here now. And then next turn around, he actually took a couple of what are the dirt piles and took a few of them and popped it on so it was more mounded up, and the earth was bubbling up almost as a result. So we saw that starting to happen. Of course, we knew, wait a minute, things are changing here. Why is the ground getting higher and higher? So this was sort of the next round of things happening. After that, what he did was he took one of the graves and he took this guy, the one with a fist popping out. So he took away the dirt pile and he put in the fist popping out. So that's when we knew, okay, something's up, something's going on. There's creatures coming out of the ground now. And then after he did that, next go around, we had skeleton popping through a little bit more. Let me hold this down so you can see that. So we had the skeleton now coming out of the ground, fully armed, mind you, because we wanted to make it interesting. And then he basically progressed from taking it partially out of the ground to the next one that we had where another arm was coming out. And then finally he used the one where it was half out torso-wise. And then we knew trouble came about when he had the skeleton just standing there ready for battle. So this is one of those things where initially I had created these thinking, okay, we have the dirt pile, we have the open grave, we have the skeletons coming out of the graves. I hadn't initially thought about using them the way he did, but it's turned into a really cool feature where you can modulate how you want the graves to look and how they're interacting with the players themselves and how you're bringing in extra bad guys. And it was actually cool. The kids got a huge kick out of it and they thought it was really a lot of fun. So I just wanted to show you that little twist on things because, again, like I said, when I first created it, it wasn't my intention, but it's turned into a really helpful and different way of looking at everything. So I'm just going to turn on one more light. There we go. So we can see things just a little bit better. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take all these little bits and pieces off so I can show you how this little sucker was made. Now, we did put the 3D printer to use on this. If you'll notice, we have this fence line going around here. And this black fence line was made using some fence that we printed out on the 3D printer, which I then added a little bit more flair to by taking toothpicks and crystal beads, and I created the finials that are on top of the fence line here, which I'll zoom in so you can see. So just to give this fence a little bit more interest, I took toothpicks, I hot glued those beads on top so it gave you a fence finial look, and then everything just got sprayed down with a coat of black spray paint. And then I went back in and I took a copper gold tone to basically give it sort of a worn look, but also to bring accents up on those finials as well. And really, to make this was pretty easy once I figured out what I was doing with the lighting. Let me get these guys all off here. And it's one of those strands of lights that you're going to find, especially now with Christmas coming around. I think they did have a couple that were Halloween related. Here we go. But it gave me this opportunity where I now have these light pieces going on. And again, what I thought was kind of cool is taking those mosaic tiles, and now I have fog or smoke or, you know, a spell glowing, which looks pretty cool when you have it on the table ready for play. So that's one of the things I realized I could do, keeping the lights in. You can take those fog effects and give them an extra life by basically bringing some light on. So there you go. You can see it's sort of glowing now as opposed to just sitting there looking like its normal self. So that was a really neat thing. So if you can find these tiles, definitely go and see if you can do that, because that was pretty fun. And then along with that, what I wanted to show you is, so let me show you how I hid this. So there is a little switch that comes with these lights. And what I did is I took the terrain, built it up a little bit. Hold on. There we go. So built up the terrain just with other pieces of terrain that we have. And I left a little gap between two pieces because there's another one tucked further back in there. But what's happened is underneath I've hidden the switch so that it's actually easy to get to. Here we go. See? So it's this battery pack with an easy on and off switch. And then just flip it on, flip it off, and you get your lights to do their thing, which makes it a lot easier in case you want to have the lights off first before anything starts happening with your features. And then you can just quickly sneak your hand in there and then turn it back on. And I did, once I can pick this up, I'll show you. I did sort of cut out underneath a place where you can also tuck the battery pack and keep it hidden away for your gameplay. I'm going to lift this up to show you what's going on underneath. Alright, so here we have what it looks like underneath. What I did was I took the power drill and I went through and basically just popped holes into where I wanted the lights to go. Now keep in mind, each point is only a certain length of wire, so you can only have it go so far away from each other. So you do kind of need to think about it ahead of time, how you're going to plot out your lights, but it helps just to kind of know your spacing. And the nice thing is these all just pop right out, so that if you don't want to use this light feature, it just comes out in that nice strand like that. And it's only 10 lights on this strand, so that's something to keep in mind. If you want more lighting, you're definitely going to need more than one strand for this. But then once those guys are out, the lighting feature is no longer there, but this still has some usability to it. So the other thing I did is, I'm going to show you, you can see that yes, when the lights come out, you do get those holes, but to make this look more like a garden or a yard, bear with me, what I did was I took some more of those plastic floral plants that I have from those sheets that I found at Michael's, and I've created these little tufts of bushes, kind of like the magic hedge, and I've attached them onto a toothpick. So doing that means that I can now take this little guy and pop it into one of the holes, like so. And so what has happened is I now get like this garden-like outdoor shrubbery. If you can name that movie, good for you. So it now looks like we have shrubs sitting in the yard instead. And it covers up those holes for you quite nicely, but it also means you now have something where the players can work between these hedges or the shrubs, and they become playable pieces as well for cover and that type of thing. So it's one of those things, like I said, initially I was thinking, okay, graveyard, spooky lighting, that's pretty darn cool. But once I started working more with this, I realized it had a lot of potential to it, and I wanted to explore it a little bit more. So now we have this piece of terrain that Yes, it's a little bit more specific because it can be cemetery, yard, that type of thing. But it also got a little bit more mileage as opposed to just being a cemetery. So I was really happy about that. And then, let's see what else I got going on here. So that was the cemetery piece. I did create this special set of stairs for it because this is built on that 1-inch foam. I needed it so that the players could get up to the cemetery in one way or another. So this is going to become a video in and of itself, but I was really happy with it because now I have a set of stairs that have the stone texture, but this is the cool thing. I was able to get it so it now has this sort of mossy mortar section to it. And it really came out well, and it's really, this is just a paint effect. There's no flocking, there's nothing like that. This was done using that Dollar Tree foam board and using an embosser that I found from, the company's called Doris, and it's the brick pattern. And like I said, I will do a video on this to show you how this got put together. But this is now turned into another piece which we can use, yes, to work with this, but also I can just put it with other pieces so we can have stairs going wherever we need them. And I purposely made them wider so that they could be used better for, you know, battle and whatever. And the pieces do fit on it nicely. So this little stair guy, he's going to make an appearance soon, thankfully. And it's one of those things where, the reason why I wanted to do this is because I wanted you to see how we have all these different bits and pieces from everything that's been done, but they all work together really well. So I'm going to take you into the churchyard so you can see now, but we have here the, well, I probably should put the stairs back so you can see the dead body on top. So here we have our killed bad guy. But there you can see, that's the modular blood that just picks up. It's not permanent, and I love it because of that. You can just move it around to where you need it. So this is from the Blood and Guts video, but it definitely gives you the creepy, ooh, wow, something happened factor. And it's another fun element to add to your play. And then up ahead we have the fountain. And I know a lot of you like the fountains, so this is in that playlist. And this is all just from findings that we had and hot glue, believe it or not. So it's just fun little bits of terrain that we've put together and reused and repurposed. And up in the back is the lighted lich. I gotta stop saying that. So here he is in all of his spooky glory, glowing away with his magic. And over there we have another one of those trees that I've made. And in the back over there, I kind of took our forest terrain scatter. So you can see that there's a forest to the side. Now David came up with this fun idea for whenever we need to have a river, which I wanted to show. This is basically just some fabric he got from Joann's, and it's got sort of a watery look to it, just from the pattern itself. And what he's done is he's cut strips of it, and we'll just put the terrain on top of it, and then we get this quick and easy river effect or water effect for whatever we need. So that's another fun little thing I wanted to show you guys in case you're looking for a quick and easy way to do water or larger bodies of water in your terrain. And let's see, I'm going to take you over to here. So here we have, back over here, there's Keith. He's another one of those guys. This is my first sculpture that I did, so I'm really happy with him. And then we also have these spooky dudes, and this was another printout from our 3D printer, and I am going to include links to all of these files because we got it off of Thingiverse. And it's one of those deals where, you know, it took a few hours for these to print out. Then basically what it was is we coated them down in black. I took a dark gray to dry brush them. And on the base, I did black sand that you can find at Dollar Tree just to give their base some texture. And again, there's some more of that fog. Some of it is the kind with the bottle caps on the bottom, like this one. So there's the bottle cap. And the others are the ones that have the mosaic tile on the bottom, which both give a nice little depth to it so these things aren't floating around. Let me move these out of the way. But this also gives you a chance to see. There's one of the open graves. But those actually work really well, and it was fun to have it where there's the open grave and all of a sudden there's someone popping out of the grave, and it was totally creepy and it totally worked. And then back here is the hanging tree, which I thought would be fun to kind of have on, you know, non-sacred ground outside of the churchyard zone, because here's where all the criminals and the bad guys were hanged, all that good stuff. And a wizard dude fell over. And this is one of the other minis that I painted. But it's been fun. It's kind of neat to see how all this pulls together. And the cool thing was on Sundays when David got this all pulled out, I had no idea this was all getting done the way it's getting done. So it was a nice surprise to see everything pulling together. And then another thing that happened was we shared one of our other campaigns from a couple weeks ago, and seeing the reactions, I realized it might be fun just to sort of share how we start putting everything in with each other and working it out with each other. But yeah, this is definitely, it was a longer project. It was a time-intensive project. But I gotta say, I like having these bits and pieces around now because we can do a lot more with it than we had even realized before. So that was pretty darn cool. Is there anything going on chat-wise?
We're good.
We're good? Yeah? Let's see. I'm gonna check and see who's here now. Give me a minute. Who are we saying hello to? Oh, we got a lot of people. Nice.
So while I was on earlier and popped off.
Oh, okay. Well, hello and goodbye. So we still have John, Damien. We got a lot of people here tonight. Very cool. Yeah, David's got this cool thing going on. I'm going to switch this around to me. Turn into a chat session, and then I'll hold up the other pieces. Here we go. The music? Yeah, we can lower the music a little bit. Hello! Alright, let me just do this so you're not losing me to pale face mode. So yeah, anyways, this has been huge pulling all this together, but it's also been a lot of fun seeing how it all gets incorporated with one another. And definitely this has given me ideas for other things that are going to come down the line. So yeah, more videos to come, don't worry. There's other stuff floating around up here in my head. I think out of all of these, the pieces that I was really happy to see on the table getting used was the church, because that was another one of those videos where there was a lot going on with it and a lot happening with it. And it's been used a couple times now as a church, as an old temple, as the back part of the graveyard. So that's been fun to see it. Yes, it's a church, but it's had 3 or 4 uses already just in our campaign alone. So it's really, get your pieces together and think outside the box, and you're going to be totally surprised with what comes together as you start your collection of terrain for those who are just getting into it and just getting started. And, I want to show you the fences. Well, I did have the fence around the cemetery. There's also this fun little guy. This is another one of those printouts from our 3D printer. And it does have a brick texture to it. And it's not as deep as what you can get in foam. It does have a nice variety to the pattern. It takes forever to print out though. So hindsight, I think what I would do in the future is I'd actually go for the fence itself and just foam this sucker out, especially if you want to get deeper grooves and more of a stone effect to it, because this is, like I said, it's good. It suits the purpose, but these took about a day to print out, and then just going through and trying to paint it and bringing out, even after, putting a black coat on everything, the problem is you can't do a black wash, because if you do a black wash, you get all of those lines from the printout, so it doesn't work out as well to do a black wash on something like this with your 3D printer, depending on, the quality that you've done with the print. But it works really well to get a fence line set up. But like I said, I'd probably just go for this part and foam out the bottom part. And then that way, especially if you want to get more details to it, you can put further details into it. But this comes with a few different options. So this was a 4 across printout. And then what it also has, let me grab it. It has singles. So you had a single option like this, which we did. And that works out well, so you can kind of change the lengths of your walls and everything like that. Along with that, we had corner with a column. So this you can kind of butt up against one of these guys to have it so it's either making a little 90-degree deal, yoink, like this, which is actually pretty nice, or bump them together like that. So these have some flexibility to them. And then the other thing is it comes with a set of gates, which was really fun to do. as well. So here are the gates, and these open and close. But the one thing I noticed is that this will pop off, at least for the one that we had printed out. So it's one of those things where, is it perfect? Not exactly, but it's not like you're gonna have your characters going in and out and in and out and opening the gate all the time. So as long as you know that this has a little bit of a quirk where it doesn't line up perfectly all the time, you can definitely get it to function nicely. And it has its own little finials in there as well. And this stone pattern on this was actually a lot better than on the walls. It's a nice groove cobblestone, and this is nice and deep. So I painted this all black. Again, couldn't do the black wash on it because of the 3D printer texture to it. If I had done that, you would be seeing all these striations and weird textures that I didn't exactly want to emphasize. And it has a little bit of a step up to it. So that was the other thing. I was kind of like, a little bit too deep of a step up for my preference. Like I probably would have cut it about there. But it's a nice hefty piece. It stands up on its own, no problem. It definitely works nicely as an anchor base for the rest of this fence line. And this is another one of those free printouts from Thingiverse that we definitely like putting to use. Let's see here, David typing furiously. Small time delay? Ah, okay. So yeah, David's working the chat room for me tonight. Further proof that he actually does exist. He's not just the Sasquatch floating around out there, mythical man. So let's see. So this is the fence that we had going on. And then, oh, this was the other thing. We found that, let me grab it. What I had in my mind was, you know how you go into cemeteries and you have those angel memorials. And a lot of times they're in the graveyards as well. And I was like, oh, I really want to get one of these. But what I didn't want to do was take a perfectly good angel mini and destroy it because those, you know, they look cool and I don't want to do that to them. So what we found were some files and printed out from the printer a few different angels. Now this one was a situation where we absolutely had to scale it down. It was going to be like what, about a foot tall for the angel. This one is sized to be about a foot in height. So yeah, you gotta scale it down a little bit. But in doing that, sort of a happy accident was the limbs got too thin, but her arm sort of popped off and she started getting more of that old cemetery angel who's been out there for ages and been weathered to basically can't even recognize type of situation. So it's one of those cool things where you don't know what you're going to find on Thingiverse, but when you find what you need, it's actually pretty darn cool. Just to be able to take some time, if you have a 3D printer that is, and get some pieces you need to fill in that you're just not finding out they're already made, or if you don't have time to sit down and craft it yourself in full. Because I don't think I'd have the time to sculpt one of these guys into the time that it took for this. And this is another one of them that I found, or that rather he found, and we again scaled it down a little bit. But in this case, her head and her arms had popped off. But it worked, because again, I was looking for those old angel statues, and this definitely had to do it. All right, I'm trying to look and see what we got going on here. So we're talking about, oh, shelves, yes. Yeah, we're definitely getting a lot now where we're on the shelf hunt. And it's been fun scouring the garage sale sites and trying to figure out, can we get this one in the car, and can we get it home, and is the price right, and everything like that. And we lucked out this weekend with one, so that was pretty cool. And, you know, kind of just some fun discoveries along the way. But yeah, we're definitely building our collection, so that's been pretty cool. You don't have the talent to sculpt an angel, John? I'm sure somehow you do. With everything else you do. Why not? And let me see what else I have floating on here. And, oh, yeah, these things. David had found a bin. This was from Walmart, right?
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us. All right, so if you go to Toys R Us, scour their toy bins, and he found this set. This is what the bridge is from. And this bridge was part of a set where it was a couple of the bridge, a couple of cages, and a few other features. So again, it's one of those things where comes in handy. We use it a lot, actually. So it's just fun to kind of wander around and you start pulling things together and having fun with it. And let's see what else we have going on here. Oh, that was the other thing. In terms of the various types of terrain, what I did was, let me take the camera. Because of how this worked with, I have a path here from the cemetery, but I wanted to have like sort of this other zone going on here. And what David had done is he cut this so that you have a nice slope going on. And I worked it so that the terrain is built up so you have the slope going down towards the cemetery, so you get this concept of the hill going up, which was another really fun feature that's come in handy a few times, just to kind of give a little bit of a sense of height differences and terrain change and everything like that. And basically the terrain painting that I use mostly of is our forest terrain. But like I said, this is a new concept that I'm going to toy around with. I'm going to do some different things with it that I think you're hopefully going to like, so that's up and coming soon. And then because we needed more pieces, I did end up for the forest using more of our cavern style stuff, but it works out pretty well because it sort of has that stony forest look to it. But it just goes to show you that just because you don't have everything matching, you can still get a pretty cool wow factor going on with these things. And you know, again, especially if you're playing with kids, this is the type of thing where they go nuts over it. They love seeing all these visuals and they love seeing all the details going into everything. And, you know, especially with the fountains, it's been fun just collecting little bits and pieces together and all that jazz. Just to get it something new, something different. But yeah, this has been my cemetery. And like I said, I enjoyed, hand shot. I've enjoyed pulling it together. I've enjoyed the process of making it, and it's definitely giving me more to work with so I can make other things and share them with you. Now Damien's not talking about Keith the demon, he's talking about a different Keith. You don't know? Damien, who are you talking about? Keith up on the hanging tree level? I need to sip, hold on. Yeah, drinking my Strongbow tonight. This is something I got turned on to when I lived in London for a semester abroad. Although it's still sweeter over here than it is out in the UK. You're drunk edging. John, what are you doing? So John just put in that he's having some fun edging his buildings. If you haven't found John's channel yet, that's Dungeons and Glue Sticks. Get over there. He has been making this really awesome North Pole themed set of buildings that are absolutely incredible. And he's got a few live streams on how he's been pulling them together, and they're very, very cool. So that's definitely something you should go and check out when you're done here. Yeah, everyone's working on a lot of different things. It's cool. Oh, you're making trees too, Wylock. How are you making your trees? I always like to see the different ways people make trees because there's so many different ways about doing it, between the toilet paper rolls and using, well, I like to use the florist wire, which obviously, and then let's see what else people have been using, casting it and all that stuff, so that's always neat. Reading through here and catching up. Looks like we have the usual banter going on between John and Jeff, which is always fun to see. They're teasing each other. You were drinking Strongbow last night, John? It's good stuff, but like I said, the weird thing is it's definitely got a sweeter taste in the States than it does across the pond. I don't know why that is, but it was one of those things where when we discovered it was over here, I got really excited for it. And opened up that first can and I took a taste and it's like, well, yeah, it's kind of like it. It's almost there. Oh, well, one day I'll get back over there and I'll have a nice pint in a pub. Pipeline dream. Let's see. So Wylock. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. So you're starting with amateurs and going to test out some flock with them. That'll be cool to see how it pulls together. John makes his trees as difficult as possible. John, you like to do that to yourself, don't you? I'm guilty of doing the same thing. I always make things way more technical sometimes. Ah, nice. We got Wylock drinking as well. That's always fun. just checking to see some other stuff going on here. All right, but yeah, so let me grab the cemetery thing again. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about this some more in terms of the texture and everything. Now, I know in the past I have said, no way, come here, am I ever gonna do flocking, because we have the little dude. He is fidgety, he likes to touch things, he likes to play with things, and in the process of doing all of that, more often than not, what happens is he'll pick things apart a little bit. And for the longest time, I have been super reluctant about using flocking because of that, because I know his little fingers are going to start picking at stuff. So this guy helped me come across a compromise where I can get more of that texture to it. Yoink. And still have it where it's not going anywhere. Because what I did is I basically took the Dollar Tree sand that you can find in the floral section or like the arts and crafts section. It's the colored sand. This one was black colored, but usually it comes in like white and blue. Sometimes they have like a bright lime green if you want to brave that one. I haven't seen like a natural sand color, but basically what I did is this is all covered in just some white Elmer's glue stuff, and then I put the sand down, and once that whole level was dry, went back over with Mod Podge and did a thick layer before I did any painting with it, and that sealed this sucker in tight. I mean, I'm running my fingernails over this, and if anything, it's also a good emery board. But this has turned into a really great texture that's super solid. It doesn't shed. It doesn't come apart. It's actually a really good strong layer. So if you're one of those people who takes your terrain to different places, this is a nice solid way to go with it if you don't want to deal with flocking but have sort of a flocking look to things. So that was a really happy surprise. And then the other nice thing is that because I didn't put it where I was putting the pathway, you get these 2 points of texture that really visually, and of course the camera never captures it perfectly, but visually you get this great sense of difference between the grassy area and the walking path. So like I said, there's more I want to do with this and play around with this, and I'm gonna do some videos with it, but I'm hoping to turn this into a fun option in terms of like lawns, pastures, that type of a look. So if like your party's going into a big mansion and something's happening out in the back maze, you can have something like this to work with for a terrain piece. And yeah, I was quite happy with this, and it was a total surprise. It's one of those things where sometimes you just fiddle around and you see what your pieces can do and your supplies can do, and needless to say, I was happy about this. In terms of painting it, I did use that cosmetic wedge. It is my friend, but I also used stencil brushes because those I found get in beautifully into the grooves of the sand, which before we did have, let me get the cave piece, we do have the cave terrain, and that also has sand on it. And it's actually got the construction grade stuff, I believe, because there's different bits and sizes of sand on it. But, so this is also covered in the sand as well. So it's got the, you can hear it, it's got the sand texture to it, but I found that the biggest challenge for this, for me personally, was trying to get the colors to blend more evenly. And you can kind of see, yeah, there's a couple of different paintbrush marks and things like that. So once I had my stencil brushes going and my cosmetic wedge going, between those two suckers, I was amazed at how well it all pulled in, and I was able to blend the colors better. So if you have terrain that you're working with and you want it where your paint colors blend nicely and you're not trying to get into every little nook and cranny and you can't do it with your brush, switch over to using a cosmetic wedge and the stencil brushes, because those get into where you need them to be. So that's a quick little tip that I discovered while working on this. No. No, the cosmetic wedge is not from the unboxing email. That had to be the funniest email I got a couple days ago. For those of you who don't know, I was approached by a company out in California for organic beauty products. And the email actually said something along the lines of, you know, after looking at your channel, we really think that your audience would appreciate you're doing an unboxing of our all organic beauty line. And of course it goes on like a couple more paragraphs explaining who they are, what they do, what they have, you know, cost everything, and how they're really trying to get their name out there, which I applaud them for. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. But I'm reading it and I'm laughing because I'm like, I really don't think you watched too many of the videos and got a sense of what was happening. I think if anything, they probably saw the cosmetic wedge video and left it at that. So I did email them back and I said, look, I'm totally not in the right demographic at all. I was like, I highly doubt they want to see me exfoliating my face and commenting on how things feel and everything like that. And I thought that was it. I'm like, okay, we're done. So I did get an email the other night, I kid you not, and the woman wrote back saying, oh, well, that's okay. You don't have to unbox on YouTube, but, you know, still, if you want to try out the products and then leave us a review on Amazon. And at that point, I'm just cracking up. I'm like, you really do want to get your name out there, but I'm one of those people with crazy sensitive skin, so it's one of those things where you stay with what you know. Otherwise, you know, I get like that crazy, you know, irritated skin syndrome going on. So it's just one of those things where, you know, it's not the first unboxing approach I thought I would get in terms of take your crafting channel for Dungeons and Dragons and open up a box of beauty products. What was fun though was the post that I put up on Scotty's Facebook page. That's another link I'm going to put into the description after this is done. For anyone who doesn't know, there is a fantastic page out there in Facebook land. DM Scotty has it up there, and it's wonderful. Great source of inspiration and ideas, and very open and very welcoming to crafters of all levels. So I will put that into the description after I'm done doing this little fun thing over here. But the fun thing was putting that post up in the group. And it went from, oh my God, could you imagine doing this beauty product review for you guys? But everyone jumping in with ideas of how we can make it work for us. It was things like, well, take everything out of the box and use the box for something, which, yeah, why not? Or along with taking everything out of the box, take everything out of its packaging and use the packaging for something. So it just goes to show you how you can take just the simplest things like, you know, a tube of exfoliator and come up with how you can use the cap. So that was definitely a... a fun email to get and a fun process to see the reactions and the feedback. And yeah, no, I'm not gonna pursue the unboxing, nor am I gonna pursue the products, just because, like I said, it's not something that's on my radar to even try. I appreciate that they're trying to get out there and do something with it, which is wonderful. And, you know, I totally support small businesses. I mean, heck, I have there's another craft show I want to do in November. That, you know, as a small business myself with a crochet business, that, you know, I do try and support local and handmade or local and small business if I can. But in this case, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that part. Or if I ever do, it'll be a separate, way different audience and channel. But they did, that was the other thing. She did say in the second email, oh, but we have a men's line as well. So if for some reason you have changed your mind and you want like some good products, guys, just let me know. And John wants to do it. Okay, John, I'll send you the email so you can order the products and you can leave a review on Amazon. How's that sound? But I give her credit. She was trying, bless her heart, but it's just not going to happen. But it was a fun email to read, and it was something fun to go through. And, and out of curiosity, anyone come over from Instagram? Because I did post it on Instagram today that I'll be doing this. That would be kind of cool to see if any of my followers there kind of hopscotched over to here too. Now, John, if you do this and you order those products, you do realize you should, like, you know, do your own little quick review so we can see how nice and smooth and handsome you look afterwards. That would be hysterical, actually. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's been exciting to see how the channel keeps growing. I think we're at, what's the count now? I think over 720 something now? 722. So channel's gotten up to 722 in just a few weeks, so it's definitely got some nice momentum to it, and I'm really happy to do it. And it's been exciting just to see the process and how it's growing. And I'm happy it's growing, and I will keep doing it. Everyone keeps saying, are you going to keep doing this? Or, you know, I'm not going anywhere, I promise. Just keep in mind my busy season is now for the crochet stuff, so I'm probably going to taper back a little bit over the next couple months, just because I have orders that need to be done, and these are my tools of the trade, and that basically means, you know, sitting and crocheting and doing a lot of work with that. But I am going to try and get a few videos up before the holiday seasons crank around and everyone gets crazy with their own things. Let's see. Thanks for stopping by, Mystery Shade. Glad you could make it. Sleep well. And sloth will exfoliate. So John has a sloth thing that he likes. He even has that head. You have to go watch his channel, seriously. You'll get it once you watch some of the things on his channel. So you're gonna have the sloth exfoliate. I don't know how well it's gonna work with the fur on that thing. You can try it. You can see. Although don't sloths actually have like moss in their fur because they move so slowly? That would be kind of fun. Get rid of the moss buildup. But yeah, like I said, I am going to keep going with the channel, but heads up, I'm going to taper back just a little bit over the next couple months because I have a huge Afghan order. That's no pun intended. It's actually a larger size Afghan. And along with that are some of the smaller orders going in. And then I just got invited to another craft fair in November, so that puts me up to 3. I also have a workshop kicking in that I'm doing next week at a local art studio, which that could turn into doing classes and lessons over there. So again, really cool things are coming with that as well. And we'll see how that grows. The funny thing is the article that Gareth wrote up on the Make Zine, that kind of happened at just the right time, because when I was at that craft show, the owner of the studio was there and she was just thrilled to bits. And so not only is this channel helping me with just having some fun creative hobby again, but it's also helping the crochet business at the same time. So that's kind of been a cool domino effect. You have John has a washing machine, so should he do the beauty test product on Sloth, Sloth can come back from it, hopefully, if anything should get stuck in there. You probably don't want to do a peel-off mask, John, on Sloth. It might, kind of get stuck in the fur. I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, so this is one of those things where I was excited about the cemetery stuff, and it was like, October is honestly one of my favorite months, but because of what I do with this small business, I'm already getting can you make a Christmas hat? Can you make a this? Can you make a that? And I get fast forwarded into the holidays before I even get to enjoy fall. So I've really enjoyed making these past few videos and having fun with the spooky, with the creepy, with the skeletons and the graveyards and everything like that. So this has just been an awesome fix for me to have some Halloween time, because Halloween's definitely one of my more favorite holidays. And I'm going to probably share some pics that we have of the kids tomorrow once we get them all dressed and ready to go trick-or-treating. And I mean, even David and I will get dressed up. So that's been something fun to get to experience a true October where I have had skeletons out and I have had creepy things out. It's even been to the point where, I finished the cadaver tomb, and that sucker has been sitting on my sofa table because it's been a really cool accessory for a Halloween decoration. But yeah, this has been fun to do. I've really enjoyed this past month, and I'm really glad I got to share it with you guys. And I don't know if I'm going to do so much of a icy, snowy theme coming up in the winter, because quite frankly, where I live, we oftentimes get enough ice and snow to give you a fix and you're done. But like I said, there's going to be more to come. And if you haven't subscribed yet, if you're new to this, you better hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't gotten the notifications yet, definitely make use of that little bell, because I do find that helps, especially like for channels that I'm following. Sometimes I get so busy, especially now, I'll miss a video that's come out and then I'll have to backtrack to it. Halloween is for adults. Christmas is for kids is one of the comments from Big Brother. Yeah, although I gotta say, I think our kids are definitely getting infused with the love of Halloween too, because I mean, they're just about bouncing off the walls already. The little guy went to bed, pretty much gave him his hug and his kiss. He goes, "Mom, it's Halloween tomorrow." I mean, he was excited. It was pretty much like, Halloween is the fall version of Santa for him. Plus he's excited to go get more candy. He's already telling me how he's going to eat his candy. Aw, thanks, John. I hope to keep up the great work. It's my goal. I do like to do good things. I'm just reading through the comments here. No rest for the wicked. I'm not wicked. No, it's been something where crochet was a hobby for me. And it was for the longest time. And then it turned into one of those things where I started making stuff and friends wanted to buy it, and that's how it sort of snowballed into its own little business. So this is one of those things where, I enjoy that it's my own little thing that I get to do. And the other cool thing has been learning how to do the video stuff. So that's been a fun curve, and our oldest wants to get into doing film in the future. He's talking about how he wants to be a director in life, and he's getting a kick out of seeing this stuff pulled together. So it's one of those things where, Dungeons and Dragons, people have that 1980s, earlier times rep for it in terms of, oh, well, isn't that just where you sit in your basement and you do weird things? No, it's become something where the kids have learned so much from it. First of all, the math, oh my God. I have a little human calculator and the brothers soon to follow. But they've learned so much in terms of problem solving and strategy and compromise and how to approach things from different angles. And, it's helping them learn how to interact with people but still have that safe environment of they're playing with us and they're learning with us, but they're learning through their characters. They're learning through these other characters that get introduced to them. And, you know, it's one of those things I will definitely advocate for anyone. Bring a kid into it. Yes, you can change the content a little bit. And yes, you can make it where it's age appropriate. I mean, our youngest is 6 years old and he's playing with us. And David makes up our campaigns. It's a homebrew completely all the way. But he adjusts it and he makes it something that's completely age appropriate for both of them, a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. And they're loving it and they're learning from it and they're growing from it. So how young can you start them? Probably as soon as they kind of get the concept that this is fantasy, not reality, quite frankly, because you don't want them to get too attached to some things, you know, because things can happen. But it's one of those things where, yeah, definitely kids are welcome in my table and they are a fun addition to things because their reactions, and you can just see that what's happening on the table is up here in their heads and the imagination is going and they are so invested in their own characters and what's happening to them. And actually we have a familiar for my druid that the kids absolutely love, to the point where they will defend, his name's Panther, they will defend Panther before they defend anyone else. So it's like my character and David's character could be, you know, 20 points before bye-bye time, but you gotta protect Panther. So it's just, it's fun seeing them embrace it and take it on. And it's gotten to the point where they now have their own Pokemon Dungeons and Dragons style game that our oldest has created, and they will play together in the mornings, and he will, after the youngest one has gone to bed, he will sit there on the computer and he sits there and he's typing out his next adventure, and, you know, they have dice and everything like that. So it's just, it's really, it's an amazing thing to see develop, and it's amazing to see them take it and turn it into their own as well. So if you have kids at home, bring them on board. I'm all for that. All right, let me see what else we have going on here. So Damien, you just started crafting and everyone says you need an intervention. Welcome to the land of enablers. I don't think anyone is going to say, dude, you need to back off the craft. It's not happening. Welcome to the dark side. Let's see. Big Brother, been a DM since 1986. Yeah, Twisted Minds. I think it's not so much twisted as everyone who's gotten into Dungeons and Dragons, everyone just has a great way of looking at things from different angles, which I think is awesome as can be. And it's fun to see how one single concept can get shifted into all these different ideas, which is also why I like those challenges that show up on the page too, because, you know, lava terrain and holy crow, some of those terrain pieces were amazing. Totally different approaches, but you knew what it was. But yeah, I definitely like the way we all kind of work up here and work things out. It's really cool. Yeah, told you, Damien, you've already got your people enabling. You got John already piping up there. And I do agree, Damien, yes. Role-playing games have been fantastic for them to learn about interacting with different people and different expectations and how you would work around them and everything like that. And who to trust, that's the other thing. Who to trust and who not to trust, because David worked in this really creepy, was he a wizard? Sorcerer? What was he? The guy who wanted the head of the Night Walker?
Oh, yeah. Rasneezy?
Rasneezy. Okay, so David used this from Chult. Rasneezy from Chult. David used him. And he approached our group where it was a matter of, he wanted us because he heard how great our group was and how we had all these campaigns and were successful, blah, 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 blah. But the thing I liked is our oldest, he looked at me and he's looking at the mini on the board and he's like, I don't trust this guy. And what I liked is he was just picking up the cues that David was giving through the character that, yeah, this guy was shady. There was something else going on here. So this RPG stuff is definitely, it's good. It's teaching them new things and things I wouldn't have even thought of when we first started doing this. All right, let's see. Bye, Damien. Thank you very much for stopping by, and keep crafting. I'm not going to tell you to stop. They're not going to tell you to stop. Do make sure you share. I will say that. It's always fun to see what other people come up with. And, yeah, David got the comment up there so you could see who the character was. But it's been really cool. And then David has these other things going on where it's a matter of, let me just fix the light a little bit. No, let's not do that. I got this fun new little, oh, there you go. Now you can see me a little better. So David is working on, we found out there's a convention in a town close by to us, probably less than an hour away. And they have people come in and they actually, do gameplay. So David is working on creating a game board, and I did send John a picture of it, and it's one of those things where, oh shoot, I should have downloaded that picture so I could show you what it's going to look like. Let me see if I can do that while we're chatting. So it's one of those things where he is creating this, and it's a really cool concept. I'm honestly looking forward to painting it up, because it's going to be one of those things where it's sort of like not a gauntlet. What would you call it?
Grinder.
A grinder. So it's a grinder concept, and it's a series of concentric circles working together. If you give me a second, I think I can get this so I can show you really quick what this sucker looks like. It's just a matter of getting it onto my queue on my live stream Madooter. So it's one of those things where it's he has it where the characters are going to be pre-programmed, pre-created. We're going to have the minis I'm going to paint up the minis, and he'll have it all ready to go. And then ideally get this sucker ready for June? Yes. Get this sucker ready for June so that he can take it to this convention and present it there and have them, use it as a playable game. And if you give me a second, I'm working on it. Oh, no, I'm not going to share pictures of kitties. Wrong file. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to click over to the picture so you can see it. So this is what he's building. I'm going to give you like a count of 5, so you better look. So that's what he's building. And each of those circles shift around each other and move around each other. And the point is to get up to that tall column and get up and out of the column to win, or survive is probably a better word, to survive the gameplay. And on it he has different obstacles and different mechanisms that are going to activate. And the way everything's going to work is it's going to be a lot of trying to think ahead and trying to think at the same time and everything like that. So I'm excited to see how that's going to pull together. And it is one of those things where, we're seeing if we can get people to come together and help us test it, because we want to make sure it works before he goes off and does this. But I'm hoping it pulls together, and I'm hoping it works out, because it has a lot of really, really cool potential to it. But he's the game creator for sure in the house. We are working on, and I was talking about this with John, right now we are currently working off the 3rd edition for Dungeons and Dragons, and we're just working on getting into 5th. So I'm excited to see how that pulls together. And but David comes up with the concepts, he makes up the games, and are you still going to do that thing where you might publish some of this stuff down the line? Maybe. Yeah, we were talking about, especially because of the whole bringing in the kids factor, about how he might take some of these campaigns and turn them into published pieces later on for others who want to bring their kids in but just either don't have the time to write these or aren't quite sure where to start with that. So, crossing fingers that might turn into something cool for him as well. And let me see what else we have going on here. Oh yeah, Dungeons and Dragons has definitely gotten some news time. There was that one where it was a couple days ago, I think it was going around on Facebook, how it's gotten a new reputation and people are embracing it more and taking it on more, which is fantastic. I mean, I personally was not into Dungeons and Dragons because of my upbringing. It was just one of those things. I didn't have exposure to it. I didn't know anyone who played it. You go to a Catholic school, it's not exactly on the list of extracurricular activities. But I was definitely one of those kids who, oh my God, I loved reading up, the King Arthur stories and everything like that. So I definitely had myself immersed in the world of fantasies and knights and dragons and everything like that. So this was almost a second nature thing to get pulled into and read about and create. So I'm really happy that it's turned into a family thing for us too, because it's just been really fun. But I'm interested to see how it goes just in general and see what happens with Dungeons and Dragons and gameplay, and see how many other people kind of start getting interested in it and not jumping on the bandwagon, but appreciating it for what it has to offer. Let's put it that way. Let's see what else we have going on here with, hold on, I need to expand a little bit. All right. So let's see, Jedi Jim has your nephew. Oh, nice. Nephew and son. That's fantastic. That's really cool. You have like multiple generations going on there. That's really cool. Oh, that's interesting. So Barnes and Nobles has a Dungeons and Dragons setup? The one locally to you, John? That's pretty cool. I mean, we have that game store in town, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he does he do the game nights so much, or not so sure. Yeah, that's one of those things where our town has these little stores that are there, but sometimes you can't tell if they're opened or closed or what's going on. But it's cool if you have that option. We can go and meet others to do that. Trying to see what else here. Trying to catch up. So, all right. I mean, I think I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say here in terms of having some fun and showing you what I've been doing, and my little side tangent about bringing kids into it. But as always, it's been fun doing this with you guys. It's been fun seeing your comments, and it's been... I'm just reading comments here. I got sidetracked. I saw a shiny. Sorry. But it's always nice to share this with everyone, and you know, the way it's such a supportive community and how everyone just encourages each other. It's absolutely amazing, and I think it's very unique and a wonderful thing. So anyone who's coming in here and who is new, and you know, the people who kind of lurk in the background and afraid to kind of take that step forward, don't be afraid, because I'd be very surprised if anyone sort of said, you know, don't come in. It's been absolutely a wonderful experience, and I'm really happy to be part of this community now and sharing it with the family. And I mean, literally, the kids will come downstairs in the morning and they will pop on YouTube and they will look and see if certain people have updated their channels because they want to watch the next crafting video, which has been a lot of fun. Thanks, Wylock. I got a nice little plug from Wylock. Appreciate that. And what's no thank you evil? What? What is that, Corvus? I haven't heard of that. Have you heard of that? Okay, now that has to be explained. I'm guessing this is a game. Oh, okay, cool. So Jeff has had a client who's published a few games, so maybe we can play Connect the Dots a little bit there to give David some ideas as where to go with it. Because, I mean, he's... Gosh, how many chapters are we in now?
I don't know. We took them from 1 to 14 so far.
Okay, so we've gotten them up to level 14, so that's, you know, a significant amount of writing that he's done. But... Oh, okay. Okay, so that's something we're going to have to check out then. Very cool. I'm going to take a sip. And I was not endorsed by... Strongbow did not endorse this video or whatever. So yeah, I definitely am going to do some more stuff, and we're definitely going to have some more fun with it, and we're definitely going to do a lot more sharing and watching and having fun. And I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's pretty much it for tonight, but good seeing you all, and definitely fun reading through the chats. And one of these days, maybe I'll do a hangout after I do a live stream, but for now, because I was up late the other night, John, I'm going to get going and get some rest because I have some busyness tomorrow in terms of getting to 2 different Halloween parades and then hiking around the neighborhood with the kiddos and doing trick-or-treat. So I hope you all have a great evening, and hopefully you don't get TP'd, and if you do get TP'd, may it not rain, and may it be easy to come down, or may the wind just take care of it for you. And I will definitely see you guys on the flip side. So thank you very much. Have a great night. Take care, everyone. Bye. And there's going to be end credits, so I'll see you later.